Flatten a rat's brain and it covers a coin. A monkey's brain spans a flatbread. Unfold a human brain and you get a large pizza. To fit this massive processing center inside your skull, the tissue folded in on itself repeatedly, creating deep wrinkles. Beneath these complex outer folds lie primitive neural building blocks. These are the ancient survival circuits we share with almost every other mammal on Earth. At the brain's base sits the ventral tegmental area, or VTA, our motivation engine. It evolved to release dopamine, prioritizing basic survival. The VTA sends these signals to the nucleus accumbens, creating a reward loop that encourages you to repeat those tasks. Nearby sits the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center. Its primary role is to flood the body with cortisol and adrenaline at the first sign of a physical predator, triggering an immediate escape response. This ancient hardware was designed to keep humans alive in a harsh, wild environment. But we are currently navigating a modern world using a brain optimized for a reality that no longer exists. In the modern landscape, physical predators have been replaced by the invisible tiger, chronic social stressors like an angry boss, a tight deadline, or online bullying. The amygdala cannot distinguish between a physical predator and a social threat. It triggers a full survival response to a passive-aggressive email, causing your heart rate to spike and digestion to halt as if your life were in danger. Simultaneously, ancient dopamine circuits are being unnaturally triggered. Modern conveniences like refined sugar, rapid-fire online gambling, and endless smartphone scrolling hit the reward circuit with a frequency the human brain was never wired to handle. Chronic exposure to these stressors and cheap dopamine hits physically ages the brain. Constant high levels of cortisol lead to a measurable loss of density and volume in the hippocampus. The inability to put down a phone or constant office anxiety stems from a biological system demanding its dopamine hit while fighting perceived threats. Curious, since the modern environment is optimized to hijack our neural hardware, what physically happens inside the brains of elite performers to give them control? Military history suggests Napoleon operated from a state of constant threat assessment. On the battlefield, survival depends on the amygdala's fight-or-flight response, a high-stakes environment where fear of loss or death becomes the primary motivator. While amygdala-driven fear can produce short-term success, it is biologically unsustainable. Relying on a constant threat response eventually damages the nervous system. Michael Jordan represents a different model, the procedural master. He spent thousands of hours physically practicing, but he also utilized intense mental rehearsal. Mental visualization activates the striatum and the premotor cortex, the same procedural circuits used when physically holding the ball. Elite athletes use their imagination to wire explicit memories into automatic white matter muscle memory. By the time they step onto the court, the brain has already rehearsed the physical execution until it is nearly autonomous. Michael Phelps utilized the highest level of top-down neural control. He relied on the prefrontal cortex. This uniquely human part of the brain handles logical decision-making and possesses the ability to override base animal instincts. Phelps vividly visualized negative outcomes, like his goggles filling with water mid-race, and then mentally practiced exactly how he would stay calm and finish the swim. By pre-programming a calm reaction to a disaster, he was actively short-circuiting his amygdala's panic response before the race even began. This demonstrates that willpower is the deliberate use of the prefrontal cortex to override panic with pre-programmed focus. Through neuroplasticity, the brain physically changes its shape, size, and wiring based on the experiences it is exposed to. The brain is an experience-incorporating machine. Habits involving cheap dopamine and chronic stress cause those specific neural pathways to grow thicker and more dominant over time. Building willpower requires forcing the brain to delay gratification by deliberately engaging in difficult tasks. This mental resistance training involves learning a new language, picking up a complex instrument, or practicing daily neurobics, like memorizing difficult words. Intentionally struggling through hard things builds the mental discipline required to deny the brain's demand for cheap dopamine. While neuroscientists can easily locate the exact centers for fear and addiction, there is no single location in the brain for happiness. Fulfillment is a massive, distributed network firing together across the entire cortex. It requires work and intentional connection to activate. You actively shape these neural pathways through your daily environment and habits. Tomorrow morning offers a choice: continue feeding the ancient hardware with stress and quick dopamine hits, or choose a difficult task and build a mind designed to win.